Alright, what's good YouTube? It's Nemo and I'm back again with another video. And in today's video, I'ma just recap what happened in Peach Jam, the things that caught my eye and caught my attention. So, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully y'all enjoy the video and we're gonna get straight into it. So the first thing that caught my attention, if you've seen my previous videos, you know I'm a fan of Elliot Cadeau. I've been watching him all spring. New Heights Lightning was my favorite coming in, prior to me knowing that Elliot Cadeau was reclassifying. So I was interested in seeing how they would go out there and perform. I didn't realize, I love Elliot's game, but I didn't realize how much of an impact he made on the court until seeing New Heights out there. You could tell they didn't have a point guard. I think Tahad Pettiford, when it comes to scoring the ball, I think he may be the best player in the class of 2024 when it comes to getting a bucket. And Tahad played well, but you could tell they didn't have that floor general on that team to get them in their spots to help create shots and create looks for their players. And because of that, they played horrible. And so that right there really helped me see the impact that Elliot Cadeau made on the floor. Now, with that being said, I felt like Tahad did his thing. He averaged 17 a game, I believe. He played well. But I think in order for Tahad to get to the league, especially at his size, I think he's 6'1", 6'2", I think he's going to have to be able to run the point guard position at a high level. I think he can score the ball with the best of them. But can he be a true point guard? I think if he can become a true point guard, he's easily going to the league someday. But I think that's the next step of growth in his game. Now, the next thing I noticed watching Peach Jam was that freshman, rising sophomore AJ Benson is the best scorer in the EYBL. Whether it's 15s, 16s, 17s, it don't matter. He's the best scorer. He's gonna get it done, and he did it efficiently too. That was my biggest takeaway from watching AJ play. I was seeing he was putting up the numbers, the games I didn't watch because obviously I'm human. I couldn't watch all the games. And so when I watched these games, I was like, I want to see how he getting it done because these numbers looking efficient. 30 points. He was getting it done. He was doing his thing. I honestly believe he may be top 3 best players regardless of class. It really ain't a 1, 2, and 3. It's a 1A, 1B, 1C with Cooper Flagg and Cameron Boozer, and I'm gonna talk about them next. But the biggest thing I don't like about AJ Benson, and this is a personal thing, a lot of people don't have a problem with this, but I have a big problem with it. And maybe because I was a high school hooper at one point. But AJ Benson is 16. He was a 16-year-old freshman in high school. Now, I don't know how old y'all were when y'all were a freshman. I was a 14-year-old freshman. I wasn't 16 until my junior year in high school. Now, at 14, I started on varsity. I made an impact. But if I could have been 16-year-old me my freshman year, I feel like my freshman year would have been way better. And I didn't even have a bad freshman year. And so, me personally, I can't get with the fact that he's a 16-year-old freshman. He may reclass back up, especially considering how good he is. But that's my biggest turnoff with him. That was my turnoff with Elliot Cadeau too. I didn't like the fact him being as old as he was, but he ended up reclassifying and going to college early, which is cool. And that's just me nitpicking. That's the only thing I don't like about AJ Benson is that he's 16 as a freshman. But next, it was 2 big matchups in Peach Jam, both in the 16U division with Man United and Knight Riders. They played once in pool play. They played again in the championship. Now, with the pool play game, watching that game, everybody, okay, when it comes to basketball, I'm real critical. I like to really break down games and performances and things of that nature. As much as people praise Cooper Flagg and Cameron Boozer in that game, both of them played horrible. Both of them shot if I'm not mistaken, under 30% from the field, or in the 30s in that game. Both of them, field goal percentage wise, were bad. And the reason why they were bad is they were going at each other. Well, I can't say at each other because Cooper Flagg wasn't really guarding Cam, but Cam was guarding Coop. Cooper was going at Cameron Boozer, but settling for a lot of pull-up contested jumpers. And Cameron Boozer was coming down the other end, and whoever was guarding him, pull-up contested jumpers. So they was shooting a lot, and they was missing a lot. But they ended up, having 22 and 21, I believe. But both were real inefficient. Man United ended up coming out on top and winning that game. And I believe the reason why they won that game is because Cameron Boozer took it upon himself. It's 1A and 1B going up against each other in high school basketball. Like, we got to guard each other. And so, if you look at that Knight Riders team, you got Cameron Boozer, who's 6'9", 6'10". And then probably the second tallest player on that team, 6'5". And Cooper Flagg got a twin brother that's an inch or two shorter than him. So now they got the advantage down low, getting offensive rebounds, throwing it down to the post. Because Cameron Boozer's out on the perimeter guarding Cooper Flagg. And I think that's why Ace Flagg was able to have the performance he had, because Knight Riders didn't have anybody to really bang down low with him because Cameron Boozer was out on the perimeter guarding Cooper Flagg. Another thing that I realized, and if you play AAU ball, you know the early morning games suck. Early morning games are the worst game. That game, if I'm not mistaken, was at 9 o'clock in the morning. Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock. I'm not making an excuse for Knight Riders. They play horrible defensively. But backdoor, literally, if point guard came down the court and passed the ball and cut, whoever was guarding him lost him. Like, literally just lost him. He was wide open in the paint. Off-ball movement, Knight Riders couldn't keep up with nobody. And it was shocking to me, and I kept thinking, they're 15 and 16 years old. Like, I mean, it's a 9 a.m. game. But that's no excuse. And that's why Knight Riders ended up losing the game. Now, fast forward to Sunday. Boom. Championship game. Knight Riders and Man United again. Now, in this game, Knight Riders played better off-ball defense. Like I said, I don't know if it was because it was a 9 a.m. game the first game. But the second game, off the ball, they was on their P's and Q's. They gave up some 3-point looks, but they was on their P's and Q's. Now, Cooper Flagg had a solid game. Cooper Flagg had a really good game. He shot horrible from the field again. So, Cooper Flagg in that game had 18 points on 24 shots. He shot 8 for 24 in that game. Which, once again, is an efficient performance from Cooper Flagg. I believe if Cooper Flagg tightens up his field goal percentage, if Cooper Flagg in that game makes 2 more shots, Man United got a chance to win. Especially considering the fact that in that game, Cameron Boozer got in foul trouble late. And I know a lot of people was getting on Cameron Boozer and his performance in the championship. But I think Cameron Boozer played his role. Like, once again, we talk about Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is, right now, they got him listed as a 1B. I think he going to move up to 1A. He going to be the number 1 player in high school basketball. Cameron Boozer plays with 4 other ranked players. His brother, Caden, Dante Allen, and Alex Lloyd. Wait, 3 other ranked players. All the attention is going on Cam because he's the number 1 player in high school. So, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to use him as a decoy. And that's what they did, which allowed the other players to get theirs. In terms of a championship game, like, I felt like it was a really good game plan. Cameron Boozer took 1 shot in the first half. Came out in the second half and took 5. And 2 of them were dunks in the paint that he made. Like, he won't get in a bunch of looks. Because the defense was keying in on him, allowing him to create looks for others. And the same thing was happening on the other end with Man United. Don't get me wrong, the defense was keying in on Cooper Flag. But at the end of the day, because Cooper Flag's supporting cast isn't as talented as Cameron Boozer's, Cooper Flag had the luxury of only taking 6 shots. He had to take 24 shots. But that's why I think with the argument between those two, I think it's key to look at you can't just look at the numbers and say, oh, Cooper Flag's better. Cooper Flag plays on a team with his homeboys that he grew up with. None of them ranked. Not many of them got high major offers. So when it comes down to the nitty gritty, it's really the Cooper Flag show. He gotta do most of the work if they're gonna win the game. Whereas Cameron Boozer, he got his twin brother that's ranked. He got Dante Allen, who had a game. I believe he shot like 13 from 13. Alex Lloyd, who to me is one of the best guards in the class of 2025. Like, they're on his team. So if Cameron Boozer want to just sit there and sit in a corner, Knight Riders can still find ways to win games because they had talented players on their team. And so I think when you look at them, you can't just look at the numbers or look at the head-to-head matchup and go, hey, Cooper Flag had 18, Cam Boozer had 5, Cam Boozer sucked. Cooper Flag needs to have 18 to keep his team in the game. Cameron Boozer had 5 and his team won. Cam Boozer has the luxury of not playing well and still winning. And I was talking to one of my subs on Twitch about this, and it's vice versa in high school. In high school, Cameron Boozer don't have the luxury of having 5 and winning the game. Cooper Flag has that luxury in high school because he plays for Montverde. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It can go back and forth. That's why I feel like it's hard to really compare them based off statistics. You got to compare them based off of their skill sets, which I believe right now Cooper Flag has a more polished game and he has a deeper bag. But I feel like Cameron Boozer is just as good as him. Like I said, they're 1A and 1B. I don't think one's better than the other. And then moving on, we're going to go to EYBL 17s. I didn't watch much 15s. I didn't watch much 16s because, I don't know. I feel like 17s is what matters the most. And watching it, I ain't gonna lie. Watching Poole play, I thought going into it, I thought Team Final had the biggest chance to win it all. Team Final, I'm gonna give you my top 3 teams I had. I had Team Final, Vegas Elite, and Team Takeover. I live on the East Coast. I know everybody's game for Team Takeover because they don't live too far from me. I've seen them play on multiple occasions. Ben Hammond, nice. Darren Harris, I've known about his game since he was a freshman. Patrick Ngangba, I've known about him for some time now. Donnie Freeman, known about him since he was a freshman. So I'm familiar with their games. So I knew they were going to be a problem. Takeover is always a problem because they got that dog in them. So, in Vegas Elite, for some reason, I don't know why, I live in Virginia. For some reason, I'm real immersed in Vegas basketball. I can tell you everything that goes on in Vegas basketball-wise. Don't ask me why, but I can. So, Vegas Elite and Takeover with my top 2 with Final in the mix. I feel like what hurt Team Final and the reason why Team Final didn't win it all is because Thomas Sorber is a good big man. I think Thomas Sorber is really good. But going up against Moken Elite with Tyler McKinley, James Brown, and John Bull, I feel like they just couldn't get the job done because Moken had quality bigs and numerous bigs, whereas Final really just got Thomas Sorber. James Moore he's a solid player, don't get me wrong. I think he's really good at what he does, but he's not James Brown. He's not Tyler McKinley, who I think is extremely underrated. And so clashing against Moken Elite, like, I really felt like the bigs is what made the difference in that game. Not to mention that Finals guards also didn't have their best performance. So that was one of the games I watched in the first round of bracket play. I'm not gonna speak too much on pool play because I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long. Next bracket play game I wanted to watch, what I watched was Vegas and PSA. I assumed Vegas was gonna blow them out because I'm not gonna lie to you. Watching PSA, I don't feel like the PSA Cardinals are good. I really didn't. I watched Boogie Flan all this year in high school, and I really liked his game. Like, I feel like Boogie Flan is really good, but to me, all spring, all summer in the EYBL, he didn't show that same dog that he had in high school. Just my opinion, though. This is just my take on it. And so that's why I wasn't really impressed with, like, since I wasn't impressed with his performance, is the rest of the team's performance. Vegas Elite was going to blow him out. Vegas Elite went up by like 20, and PSA fought back. They fought back and almost won that game. Okay, so because all 4 games was going on at the same time, I didn't get a chance to check into the Renz and the Mean Streets game much, or the Drive Nation Takeover game. I peeped in the Drive Nation Takeover game, and I felt like Takeover had control, so I just switched over to the next game. Mean Streets and Renz started late because Cooper Flagg's game went to double or triple overtime. They played against New Heights Lightning. That was a good game. Cooper Flagg hit a 3 to send the game to OT, and from there, like, they took it home. So I didn't really get to watch that game, but I was honestly shocked that Renz was able to beat Mean Streets. I felt like Mean Streets was the hottest team coming in the bracket play. I didn't have faith in them, though, but I was shocked that the Renz was able to beat them. No, okay, coming in the bracket play, you had Vegas and Renz going up against Takeover and Moken. Now, going into that game, I had Moken beating Takeover, and I had Vegas beating Renz. Why? I had Vegas beating Renz because all summer watching New York Renaissance, I just felt like they weren't really that good, but they was just able to get by. And so I felt like they weren't gonna be able to do that all the way to the championship. They have good players, but I felt like when they got out there and performed, their performances weren't well. And so Vegas Elite went up 27 in the third quarter, and I was like, I seen this coming. Like, but what shocked me was Vegas Elite went up 27, and Renz was like, we ain't done. They came back, cut the lead down to single digits. But unfortunately for them, they weren't able to come back. They weren't able to get the win. And so Vegas Elite went on to the championship. Now, the Takeover Moken game, I had Moken winning just because of the fact that in the earlier game for Team Takeover, Patrick and Gongba didn't play in the first round game. And these games happened on the same day. So I assumed, like, either coach was resting him for the later game because they felt like they would win, or like he was hurt because I hadn't seen nothing on Twitter or nothing. I'm not there, so I don't know what's going on. So I'm thinking he's hurt, and if he's hurt, I just assume he wouldn't play, which, like I mentioned with the final in the Moken game, Moken has quality bigs. Well, when I turned on the game and I'm watching, guess who's on the court? Patrick and Gongba. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. What impressed me the most about that game, if I'm being honest, was Donnie Freeman. I've been watching Donnie Freeman since he freshman in high school. I think Donnie Freeman, real solid player. But Donnie Freeman really showed his versatility. Getting out, getting steals, playing defense, blocking shots, hitting threes, handling the ball. Like, every aspect of the game he did in that game. And I believe that's what made the difference for them, and that's what helped Takeover win that game. So then we move on to the championship. And boy, was the first quarter of the Peach Jam Championship crazy. Darren Harris came out. Now, I'm a Duke fan. He committed to Duke. I'm happy. Darren Harris came out hot. I'm talking, he hit like 4 straight threes. Bow, 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 bow. Didn't miss. And so then he missed the shot, and I was like, he gonna cool down? Nah, he stayed hot, in my opinion, the whole game. Finished with like 28. But after he got hot, Junie Mobley for Vegas got hot. So Junie came down, and he was getting his off the dribble like Steph. Contested. 1 or 2 hands in his face. Didn't matter. He hit 4 in a row. He finished 4 for 5 from 3 because in the first half, because he pulled up from half court at the buzzer and dang near hit that one too. I'm talking about at the half, Junie Mobley and Darren Harris had ended the game like Nimbus. You would have thought the game was over. Looking at the score, looking at their stats, you would have thought the game was over. It was just halftime. But I felt like what made the difference in that game is TakeOver came out hot and energetic, and throughout the course of the game, they stayed that way. Vegas came back. They were, like I said, Vegas didn't start out hot. TakeOver was hot. Vegas came back and got hot. But in the second half, Vegas didn't stay hot. And they weren't as energetic as TakeOver. They didn't have that energy. And so because of that, in the second half, TakeOver was able to build on the lead and really take control of the game. I believe TakeOver's ability to come out hot and hit shots and to keep that energy throughout that energy and passion and drive throughout the course of the game, I felt like that's what made the difference. Once again, Donnie Freeman had a really good game. Patrick Ngongba did his thing. Ben Hammond played well as he always does. I seen him play. I think Ben Hammond is a top 50 player in the country personally. Every time I see him play, he hoops. These recruiting services, we got players in the top 50 that don't do nothing. If we being honest, they on the court, I wouldn't even know they was ranked if I didn't pull up the ESPN app. If you told me they was ranked, I think you was lying. I mean, we got to do something. But Rhode Island got a gem in Ben Hammond. So, overall, starting off, I felt like Peach Jam was a little disappointing. I felt like the games didn't have the energy. The players weren't performing up to at least the standards that I had set. But towards the end of the week, when the games really started to matter, I started to see things ramp up, and I started to be impressed with several different players. And I'm real excited about this upcoming high school season and how things pan out. You got AJ going over to Prolific Prep. Coach Gibson left AZ Compass. So I want to see how AZ Compass come back next year. Especially with Jeremiah Fears there now. He's one of my favorite high school players. You know, Montvert's always going to be good. IMG's always going to be good. And Montvert got Rob Wright now, one of my favorite guards in the country. I want to see how this upcoming high school season turn out. So, with that being said, if you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button, you subscribe, and you share the video with your friends. And until next time, I'm out.